Hey everybody, I just got back from seeing Beetlejuice. You can see my cup there. And I wanted to take a few minutes to just sort of give my impressions of the film. At least my first impressions, I like to sort of go off the cuff after I freshly saw the flick. So nothing I really stewed on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go over the film. So spoilers, it's going to go down. And then I'll kind of give you my take and my opinion on things. And I guess I'll throw you a rating out there. Lydia is now a paranormal investigator with a daughter whom she has a fractured relationship with. Her manager, played by Justin Theroux, is her love interest slash manager. Lydia gets word from Delia that her father Charles died in a plane crash and was devoured by sharks. Lydia connects with her daughter at the funeral, and we get to see their dynamic as a mother and daughter and get fed backstory of Lydia's ex-husband being deceased. With Charles dead, cleaning out the Dietz's home gives us the excuse to explore the famous attic again. We get insight into Beetlejuice's world, where he's running his bioexorcism business with a bunch of shrunken head ghouls. He reads about Charles's death in the newspaper and figures this is his chance to finally get with Lydia, whom he's pined for the past 30 plus years. While all this setup is going on, we're introduced to subplot 1, which sees Beetlejuice's widow, played by Monica Bellucci, aka Mrs. Tim Burton, getting resurrected from Danny DeVito of all people, and having a score to settle with Beetlejuice. All right. And then in the afterworld, Willem Dafoe's character plays a cop of sorts who in his previous life was a B-movie action star. And he's basically tasked for hunting down Mrs. Juice, who is trying to kill Mr. Juice. Got it? You follow? Now, during the wake service for Charles, Lydia's manager pops the question, and it's clear his motives for this union are purely to exploit Lydia's fame and fortune. Distressed by the proposal, Lydia's daughter takes off on her bike, crashes into a local boy's fence. Said boy comes down from a treehouse, and we have yet another subplot beginning. The two of them develop a thing for each other, but like Lydia's manager, this Tiger Beat kid has ulterior motives. It's eventually revealed that he's a ghost, and with a faulty promise for Lydia's daughter to reunite with her dead father, he gets her to enter the afterlife with him. Unbeknownst to her, he's tricked her into trading her life for his place back among the living. Lydia discovers this and makes a deal with the devil, aka Beetlejuice. She'll marry him if he helps to save her daughter. Sound familiar? Long story short, he does. During this whole portion of the film, we get to see all of the Dietzes in the afterlife, including Delia, who actually legit died by getting bit by poisonous snakes she bought online. Oh yeah, and Lydia is reunited with her widow, who tries to help them get back to the real world and away from Beetlejuice. AKA, Lydia is reneging again on her agreement with Beetlejuice. I kind of don't like her. With the threat thwarted, BJ comes to claim his reward. He crashes Lydia's Halloween wedding planned by her manager, and we get a scene that's somewhat similar to what we got in the original. And yeah, I guess BJ's dead wife and Willem Dafoe are still a thing, and they show up there too and stuff. But it doesn't really matter. Basically, Beetlejuice loses out again. Lydia lies to him again and breaks their arrangement a second time, and then all is well in the world, sorta. Delia Dietz takes her new place in the afterlife, and she gets to reunite with the headless and chestless Charles. It's implied that Lydia is still haunted by Beetlejuice in her dreams, giving us that ever so popular sequel bait. So now I'm going to go off notes and just sort of give you my thoughts on the film. To just preface, the original Beetlejuice for me is a 10 out of 10. And I think a lot of people hold it in pretty high regard like that. And to be totally fair, it's got, what is it, 36 years of nostalgia baked into it. I'm 38. It's been around and part of my life since the beginning, right? So it's going to be hard for any sequel to compare with that, especially one that comes out so much later. And I totally understand and expected that. I never go into stuff like this with any sort of high expectations. Now, with that said, if Beetlejuice is a 10 out of 10, I would give this like a 7 out of 10. I think it's good. I think, obviously, the highlights are Beetlejuice. Michael Keaton is amazing. He's really good. I like his sort of funny dad humor. And I would say the other highlight is Catherine O'Hara. I think she's brilliant. I think she's hilarious, and she really shines in it. The only nitpick I think I can really give it, because the film feels like Beetlejuice. I mean, Tim Burton hasn't been Tim Burton in a long time, and this is the most Tim Burton he's been in a very long while. So I'll give him credit there. I thought the world felt like Beetlejuice enough. It was on brand. Danny Elfman's score really tied it together. So all good. I just think they tried to cram too many characters and too much story here. So, in my opinion, as much as I love Willem Dafoe and I really dig Monica Bellucci, I feel like their whole arc was absolutely pointless. We didn't need to have his dead wife rising from the dead to come hunt him down and get all that backstory. I mean, yeah, through that we get a little bit of Beetlejuice's backstory, and you kind of find out how he died, and he's from the Black Plague era and all that stuff. That's fun, but it's not needed because we've already got the meat of our story is Lydia and her daughter. I think there's too much setup. If I'm not incorrect, I think this movie is about 15 minutes longer than the original. I want to say the original is about 90 minutes, and this one's an hour and 45 plus. And they could have shaved off that 15 minutes because you do feel it. They should have gotten rid of the whole subplot with his dead Beetlejuice's wife, got rid of Willem Dafoe because then you don't need him, and just focus on Lydia and her daughter. And you could even kind of get rid of all the setup we had. We didn't even need all the setup with Lydia and the TV show because she's a paranormal investigator now, as I was saying. And I think we could have sped that up a little bit, chopped it up a lot tighter, and pretty much more or less been at Charles's funeral much quicker. And then that could have been where we first met Lydia's daughter. I think that's where it should have started. And then we get that conversation, that banter between them that really kind of spells out the relationship. I don't think we really needed too much of what came before. And as far as our big threat in the film, I think it should have just been left at that new love interest of Lydia's daughter, right? With the whole him being a ghost and tricking her to trade spaces with him in the afterlife, and him being the kid that murdered his parents, which I don't know how something like that wasn't known to Lydia or Lydia's daughter, right? I mean, it's implied it's a smaller town, right? Dude, if there was a kid 25 years ago or whatever that murdered his parents, and there's a house, the murder house, that hasn't been able to sell since then. If that happened, I mean, dude, you know about it. Like, you know what I mean? So with that, we've already got everybody's reason for being. Charles dies, right? We can bring the family together. Check. We are introduced to the attic and Beetlejuice. Check. Beetlejuice has a reason for going after Lydia because of Charles. Check. And we have a new antagonist in that Tiger Beat boyfriend. Check. Need to make a deal with the devil. Beetlejuice. Check. Still go to the Netherworld. All this stuff still happens without Monica Bellucci and without Willem Dafoe. I mean, there's cute little scenes here and there because of Willem Dafoe, like when they're interrogating Bob, the shrunken head guy, and stuff like that. All that's really adorable, and Bob acting as like the Beetlejuice decoy. I love all that stuff. It's really fun, but I don't think it adds a whole lot to the story. And with that said, if you kind of got rid of a lot of that stuff, I think maybe they could have fleshed out the boy a little bit more, right? The murder house kid. I feel like once they bring Beetlejuice on board to take him out, he's gone like real quick, right? He's literally at the ticket booth at the train station, and he literally says like something like "sayonara, fuckface," and he drops him, and that's it. Like, you don't really get to savor in his defeat, right? So I think that's probably how I would have done it, and everything would have played out just fine. I guess as an alternative, you could have maybe gotten rid of the boyfriend altogether and just really fleshed out the Monica Bellucci thing and really made her the new big bad, the threat. But that's not how they did it. So anyway, just a nitpick. What was there I did like, don't get me wrong. So solid, 7 out of 10. I really had a good time. I got exactly what I wanted out of it, and that was just a fun trip down memory lane and to be reunited with some of these characters again. So a 7 is good in my book, man. I go off letterbox scoring, and that is good. and a 7 out of 10 will see me buying it and owning it as part of my collection. So what do you guys think about Beetlejuice? Now that I've made this video, I'm really going to be into checking out other people's opinions and, you know, trolling online and reading the comments and stuff and having some discussion. So maybe I'll come around and maybe I'll start liking the parts that I think were kind of fluff. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Adios.